and I'm so awkward at beginnings. Hi everyone, it's Kat. So I've been writing a book since April this year. Not long, but it feels like forever. I finished the first draft now. There are lots of holes that I need to fill, and I just thought I would update you on how it's all going. I did start edit. I've had a few issues because at the moment it's in first person, and this, I don't know, it was fine for the first draft, but then there was just something missing. I didn't know what it was, and it was really bugging the hell out of me because I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, besides the fact that several scenes were missing. So I tried writing it in third person for like the first few chapters, and at first I thought it was working better. I was like, yeah, this is more like it, and then gradually it was, no, I'm struggling. I don't like the way I'm having to put a name all the time, and I don't like the way I'm putting she, you know, all the time. I know if it's in first person you're putting I a lot, but you can do other things. And I realised, I sort of realised, I'm not 100% sure at the moment, but I think it's actually the writing style that's bothering me. And for the first draft, I was fine with it. Everything seemed okay in the style, but it's my usual style. Like every story that I write, it pretty much, especially if it's in first person, it always sounds the same to me, and that's probably not a good thing if I'm realising that. So I don't know, a part of me, whenever I read it back, I'm like, this reads too simple. You know, like how, not that middle grade books are simple, but that's how my stories seem to read to me. Like, way too, like I guess maybe part of me is trying too hard to copy what other authors do. But when you read some books and you're inspired by them, and they're the kind of books that you want to write, and then you try and write it, and it's like nothing. It doesn't even come close. I decided last night, maybe it was a last night decision, and you know, you should never trust those, right? But I decided that I'm going to, I mean, obviously I've already written the first draft, so I know how it goes, and I know what happens, and I've got the voice down. I know what my character's voice is like. But I'm going to rewrite I'm going to rewrite the story altogether. I'm not, because I think the problem is I keep trying to fix chapter 1, and I'm like changing it here. My analogy was that if you've got, it's like having a massive like wound and only sticking tiny plasters in little bits. It's like, no, you need to cover the whole area. So I need to like almost wipe the slate clean. I know where it goes, I know what's happening. I have basically a huge ass outline to go off. So yeah, I'm gonna start from the beginning and maybe hopefully try and find the style that way, because then if I end up getting halfway through it and I'm like, no, actually I prefer the original, then I will go back. I know it's tedious and time consuming, but it's not like I have a deadline. The only thing I'm battling against is my impatience to get it finished. But some people work on their stories for like years, so I don't think I'm doing anything terrible. But it does feel like sometimes if I change things, I'm like, oh, I'm not doing it the way I should do. But there are no rule books, and so many authors have said, you know, what bit of advice works for one person doesn't always work for the other, and that's fine. But I always feel guilty when I get given advice. I'm like, oh, but it needs to work for me, I need to take it, and then it doesn't, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel horrible, as if I've somehow betrayed them. It's silly, but that's me. And yeah, so last night I was trying to, it's my little book of story ideas. I need to get a proper writing book thing. I've got pucker pads everywhere, but those are too big, and these are too small, so I need something like in between. I don't know what size that would be. A6? This is A5. No, this isn't quite A5. This is smaller than A5. So I don't know what the size is, because I know A2 is like the huge ass poster. So yeah, so last night I was trying to figure out what's wrong with it. I don't think at this point it's between first person and third person, because both sides I found, I don't know, there's just, you know when there's just a that nagging feeling like something isn't right, something's not working. But I feel like it's definitely the style at this point. And last night I was trying out different styles, and I think the problem was I was thinking too much about it. I was getting frustrated with myself. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I was tired. Not a good time to start worrying over something like this. But I want to handwrite the first, I keep calling it the first draft. It wouldn't be the first draft. It would be like the second proper draft. I want to write that out by hand, and like I said, I need a proper book. I don't just want a notepad, you know, those things can get lost. It doesn't feel official. I want something like I want to splash out and get a, I don't know, a fancy like book, leather bound or something. Obviously I need to get out and do that. The problem is I'm not going out today. It's rainy and miserable and I just can't be bothered. So in order to write, I might just start in I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point. I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know. And I love the story. It's not the story that I have a problem with. It's just making it so that when I read it back, I'm like, yes, this is perfect. This is what I want. And I guess that's what every writer wants, you know, they want to read it back and not hate everything they've written. The thing is though, I say I have the voice down, but it's not the way I want it to be. It's not quite, you know, every time I film I have a paranoid feeling like I'm not actually recording. Yes, I am recording. Maybe it's just my insecurity, and I mean, I've been told that my work is good and by those are my friends, but I can't just be like, oh, you're already saying that because of my friend. You know, I have to sort of trust that if it wasn't good they would say, or if there was something wrong they would say. So yeah, I've had a few people that, you know, say, you know, oh, this is really good, and or not, maybe not really, but it's just, I feel I'm not confident enough to take praise or take compliments properly. Every time somebody does, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't know, maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit, but it feels to me like a lot of my main characters sound the same. And I do try to make them different. Writing is so difficult. I went to Victoria Schwab and Samantha Shannon event last Friday. It was probably one of the most interesting panels I've been to. Yeah, there weren't many questions asked because the questions that were asked involved long and, I guess not long-winded answers, but informative answers. Victoria was saying how much she can't stand the first draft, and I guess I don't like the first draft. I cannot rush through a first draft at all. I struggle like crazy and I end up skipping sections because I just want to get to the end, if I know where the end is to start with. But I also don't like the editing process, but I love writing. And she was like, she said that she said not to tell anyone this, but basically, if there's anything else that gives you as much like fulfillment or joy as writing does, do it. And then I was like, but there is nothing else I can do. I've always wanted to write, even if I didn't know I wanted to write, you know. When I was at school I would write stories and plays during drama class, while everyone else got into groups and did like improvisation stuff. I would sit down and write plays because I didn't get included in the groups. I suppose you could say I was being productive in my own way. So, you know, I've always wanted to write, and annoyingly it's harder than it looks. Much to my mother like comments, I have actually written quite a few first drafts, but due to computer problems a lot of them got deleted. I think if I overthink it, it gets a bit so that I struggle too much and then I just give up. And usually I give up when I finish the first draft, and then I realise how much editing I have to do and it puts me off, so I don't do it. And now I'm like, no, even if I completely polish everything up and I don't end up doing anything with it, at least I could have said, you know what, I did it, I persevered, I edited, I got it to how I would like it, even if I end up going, no, this isn't going to do anything, or And the thing is, I'm not very good at, I mean, I can time waste to my heart's content, but if I'm doing something that I want to, if I'm doing something that I want to succeed at, I'm not very good at doing it and then realising it's time wasted. I can find time wasting watching Netflix or reading. But if I'm doing something that it's like, you know what, I want to finish this, I'm not very good at getting to the end of it and being like, this was a waste of time. I want to do this properly, even if it doesn't get published. At least I can have said I've put the time and effort into doing it. Well, that was a lot to say. I kind of felt like I needed to talk about it because writing a blog post is all well and good, but I tend to get really angry on that. And it looks so much more violent when it's in capital letters. So I'm not shouting on this, I'm not even swearing, I'm getting it across in a sort of coherent way, I think. Oh, I forgot to mention, I actually probably should tag it in the description, but I took part in a booktube collaboration thing with a YouTuber called Caitlin. Can't remember her surname unfortunately, but I will tag her somewhere. We did a video with a bunch of other people saying about why we read. Had lots of fun doing it. Thankfully I look decent, so I will put the link in the description so you can go and watch it if you like. Yeah, so my writing wise, I'm going to try and do like updates maybe once a week or every 2 weeks and let you know how it's going, because I want to say it's therapeutic, but actually I just end up winding myself up even more, like, come on. I hope this has been enjoyable for you. I will see you again soon with a new video. God, I'm bad at ending too. Alright, bye.